Wysteria, energy, twister.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Legends of Britany. We are now on the Doubting Thomas. It is strange to think that Britanny, one of the cradles of Arthurian legend, could have produced a disbeliever in that legend so early as the year of grace 1113. It is on record that some monks from Brittany journeyed to England in that year and were shown by the men of Devon the chair and the oven of the King Arthur renowned in the stories of the Britons. They passed on to Cornwall, and when, in the church at Bodmin, one of their servants dared to question the statement of a certain Cornish man that Arthur still lived, he received such a buffet for his temerity that a small riot ensued. Does not this seem to be evidence that the legend was more wholeheartedly believed in the Celtic parts of England, and there were, or therefore, more elusively native to those parts than to continental Brittany? The Cornish allegiance to the memory of Arthur seems to have left little to be desired. I guess that's true when you think about it. Arthur and the dragon. This is where we get to his dragon slaying. The manner in which Arthur slew the dragon of Lewis, well, it's actually Greve, but it's spelt wrong in this book, but I know it's Greve, but it's French, Louis de Greve. And at the same time made the acquaintance of Saint Ephlem of Ireland, is told by Albert Legrand, monk of Morlaix. Arthur had been sojourning at the court of Hoel, Duke of Armorica, and, having freed his own land of dragons and other monsters, was engaged in hunting down great beasts, with which Armorica abounded. But the monster which infested the Lieu de Greve was no ordinary dragon. Indeed, it was the most cunning Saurian in Europe, and was wont to retire backward into the great cavern in which he lived, so that when traced to it, those who tracked him would believe that he had just quitted it. In this manner he succeeded in deceiving Arthur and his knights, who for days lingered in the vicinity of his cave in the hope of encountering him. One day as they stood on the seashore waiting for the dragon, a sail hove in sight, and soon a large coracle made of wickerwork covered with skins appeared. The vessel grounded and its occupants leapt ashore, headed by a young man of princely mien, who advanced towards Arthur and saluted him courteously. "Fair sir," he said, "to what shore have I come? I am Ephlem, the king's son of Ireland. The winds have driven us out of our course, and full long have we laboured in the sea." Now when Arthur heard the young man's name, he embraced him heartily. "Welcome, cousin," he said. "You are in the land of Brittany. I am Arthur of Britain, and I rejoice at this meeting, since it may chance from it that I can serve you." Then Ephlem told Arthur the reason of his voyaging. He had been wed to the Princess Honora, daughter of the petty king of Britain. And this does say Britain, as in Britain, not Brittany. It says King of Britain. But on his wedding night, a strong impulse had come upon him to leave all and make the penitence within some lonely wood, where he would be at peace from the world. Rising from beside his sleeping wife, he stole away, and rousing several trusty servitors, he set sail for his native shores. Soon his frail craft was caught in a tempest, and after many days driven ashore, has just been seen. Arthur marvelled at the impulse which had prompted Ephlem to seek retirement, and was about to express his surprise when the youth startled him by telling him that, as his vessel had approached the shore, he and his men had caught sight of the dragon entering his cave. At these words, Arthur armed himself without delay, with his sword Excalibur and his lance Ron, and followed by his knights and by Ephlam, drew near the cavern. As he came before the entrance, the dragon issued forth, roaring in so terrible a manner that all but the king were daunted and drew back. The creature's appearance was fearsome in extreme. He had one red eye in the centre of his forehead. His shoulders were covered with green scales like plates of mail. His long, powerful tail was black and twisted, and his vast mouth was furnished with tusks, like those of a wild boar. Grim and great was the combat. For 3 days did it rage, man and beast struggling through the long hours, for the mastery which neither seemed able to obtain. In the end of that time the dragon retired for a space into his lair, and Arthur, worn out and well nigh broken by long-drawn strife, threw himself down beside Ephraim in a state of exhaustion. "A draught of water, fair cousin," he cried in a choking voice. "I perish with thirst." But no water was to be found in that place, save that of the salt sea, which lapped the sands of Grace. Ephraim, however, was possessed of a faith that could overcome all difficulties. Kneeling, he engaged in earnest prayer, and arising, struck the hard rock 3 times with his rod. "Our blessed Lord will send us water," he exclaimed, and no sooner had he spoken than from the stone a fountain of pure crystal water gushed and bubbled. With a cry of ecstasy, Arthur placed his lips to the stream and quaffed his much-needed refreshment. His vigour restored, he was about to return to the dragon's cavern to renew the combat, when he was restrained by Ephraim. "Cousin," said he of Ireland, "you have tried what can be done by force. Now let us see what can be achieved by prayer." Arthur, marvelling and humbled, sat near the young man as he prayed. All night he was busied in devotions, and at sunrise he rose and walked boldly to the mouth of the cavern. "Thou spawn of Satan," he cried, "in the name of God, I charge thee to come forth." A noise as of 1,000 serpents hissing in unison followed this challenge, and from out his lair trailed the great length of the dragon, howling and vomiting fire and blood. Mounting to the summit of the neighbouring rock, he vented a final bellow, and then cast himself into the sea. The blue water was disturbed, and by a maelstrom. Then all was peace again. So perished the dragon of the Lieu de Grève, and so was proved the superiority of prayer over human strength and valour. Saint Ephrem and his men settled on the spot as hermits, and were miraculously fed by angels. Ephrem's wife, Enora, was born to him by angels in that place, only to die where she joined him. And when they came to tell Ephrem that his new-found lady was no more, and was lying cold in the cell he had provided for her, their news fell on deaf ears, for he too had passed away. He is buried in Plestin Church, and his effigy, standing triumphant above an open-mouthed dragon, graces one of its many niches. And that is the story of Arthur and the dragon, and how the dragon was defeated. And of course, as you can tell from this story, Arthur did not slay the dragon. God defeated the dragon, and prayer defeated the dragon. Again, very interesting. Thank you for listening. Please hit that like. Share if you can, if you have not yet subscribed, but you find yourself returning, please hit the subscribe button. It takes 2 minutes and it really does help with the channel growth. I would really appreciate it. And many blessings.
Wysteria, energy, twister.